Two former lovers unexpectedly meet again at an airport and realize they still have feelings for each other. The airport terminal hummed with the usual chaos of travel, the rolling of suitcases, the muffled announcements, the chatter of 100 different journeys all converging in one place. I was on my way to a business conference, a trip I wasn't particularly excited about. Just another sterile hotel room, another round of forced networking. I clutched my boarding pass, staring blankly at the departure board, my mind already miles away. That's when I heard it. A laugh. It wasn't just any laugh. It was a sound I knew better than my own heartbeat. It was a sound that had been the soundtrack to the best years of my life, and its sudden absence had left a silence that echoed for years. I turned slowly, almost afraid of what I'd find. And there he was. Alex. He was standing by the window, looking out at the planes on the tarmac, the afternoon sun catching the familiar lines of his face. For a moment, the entire airport, all its noise and motion just faded away. It was just him. My heart did a somersault, a frantic, clumsy acrobat that had forgotten its routine. It had been 5 years. 5 years, 2 months, and about a week. Not that I was counting. Our breakup wasn't a dramatic explosion. It was more like a slow, painful fizzle. We were young, chasing different dreams in different cities, and eventually, the distance became a chasm we couldn't cross. We promised to stay friends, the classic, empty promise you make when you're trying to soften the blow of ripping a life apart. But we didn't. The calls became less frequent, the texts shorter, until one day, there was just nothing. Seeing him now felt like a glitch in the Matrix, a scene from a movie I'd long since forgotten I was in. He hadn't seen me yet. I had a split second to decide. Do I turn and walk away? Pretend I didn't see him and board my plane, leaving this ghost to haunt the terminal? Or do I walk over there and say hello? My feet made the decision for me. They moved with a will of their own, carrying me across the polished floor until I was standing just a few feet behind him. My throat was dry. What do I even say? Hi, remember me? The person whose heart you broke. No, that wasn't fair. I broke his too. I took a deep breath. Alex? He turned, and his eyes widened in disbelief. The coffee he was holding nearly slipped from his grasp. Sarah? No way. What are you doing here? His voice was the same, that familiar, warm timbre that could always calm my anxieties. I could ask you the same thing, I managed, a small, shaky smile playing on my lips. I'm heading to Denver for work. You? London, he said, a slow smile spreading across his face. Visiting family. An awkward silence hung between us for a moment, thick with 5 years of unsaid words. It was strange. We had once shared everything, our deepest fears, our silliest dreams, the last slice of pizza. Now we were strangers making small talk. You look great, he said, his eyes scanning my face. Really great. So do you, I replied, and I meant it. He looked more mature, more settled. The frantic energy of his 20s had been replaced by a quiet confidence. He still had that little scar above his eyebrow from when he fell off his bike in college, a story I'd heard 100 times. We stood there, catching up in a whirlwind of sentences. We talked about our jobs, our cities, the mutual friends we'd lost touch with. It was easy, surprisingly easy, as if no time had passed at all. The old banter, the inside jokes that I thought were long forgotten, started to surface. He remembered I hated flying. He remembered my weird obsession with collecting keychains from every city I visited. And I remembered he still bit his lip when he was thinking, just like he was doing right then. Flight 245 to Denver is now boarding at gate B12. The announcement cut through our bubble. My gate. My flight. Reality came crashing back in. That's me, I said, my voice barely a whisper. The smile on Alex's face faltered. Oh, right. The finality of it hit me like a punch to the gut. This was it. A fleeting moment, a bizarre coincidence, and then we'd go back to being strangers living on opposite sides of the world. Well, it was. It was really good to see you, Alex. I started to turn away, the familiar sting of goodbye prickling my eyes. Wait, he said, reaching out and gently touching my arm. The contact sent a jolt through me, a current of electricity I hadn't felt in 5 years. Sarah, don't go yet. I turned back, my heart pounding against my ribs. He looked at me, his expression serious, all traces of polite small talk gone. This is crazy seeing you here, he began, his voice low. I've thought about you, you know. A lot. I've replayed our last conversation 1,000 times, wondering what I could have said differently. What we could have done differently. I couldn't speak. I could only nod, the lump in my throat making words impossible. When we broke up, he continued, his gaze intense, we said it was about timing and distance. And maybe it was, but standing here, looking at you now, I'm not so sure. I think we were just scared. I was scared. I finally found my voice. Me too, I admitted. I was terrified of holding you back from your dream job in London. And I was scared of giving up my own path to follow you. And look where it got us, he said with a wry, sad smile. 2 separate paths. Successful, maybe, but happy. He left the question hanging in the air between us. The final boarding call for my flight echoed through the terminal. It was a now or never moment. I could get on that plane, fly to my conference, and spend the rest of my life wondering what if, or I could take a chance. A terrifying, reckless, beautiful chance. I looked at my boarding pass, then back at Alex. I saw the same hope, the same fear reflected in his eyes. In that moment, I knew the conference didn't matter. The carefully planned itinerary didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was the man standing in front of me, the man who held a piece of my past and just maybe the key to my future. My flight to London doesn't leave for another 3 hours, he said, his voice laced with a hopeful tremor. They have a pretty decent coffee shop in the next terminal. We could talk? For real this time. I looked down at the boarding pass in my hand, the flimsy piece of paper that represented the safe, predictable path. Then I looked up at him, at the person who always felt like home. Slowly, deliberately, I tore the boarding pass in half. A slow grin spread across Alex's face, reaching his eyes and making them sparkle. Does that mean yes? He asked, his voice filled with relief. I laughed, a real, genuine laugh that felt like releasing a breath I'd been holding for 5 years. It means, I said, that I think Denver can wait. We walked to the coffee shop, not as 2 ex-lovers making awkward small talk, but as 2 people who had been given a rare, incredible second chance. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know if we could bridge the gap of 5 years and 2 different continents. But for the first time in a very long time, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Sometimes, the most unexpected detours lead you right back to the destination you were always meant to find. Who knew a chaotic airport could be the start of a new beginning? Thanks for watching our story today. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like and subscribe for more content just like this. We'll see you in the next one.